how do you make mountains?
Oh, it's the
I have no clue.
Avalanche?
Magma.
Ancient sea of some sort?
That got formed under the waters?
An island crashed into a landmass
Maybe?
over the ice ages?
Does that sound good?
Okay, so where are we?
Banff!
Beautiful Banff, Alberta. And what is the predominant landscape feature around here?
Mountains.
Yeah, how did they get so big? How do you make a mountain? How do you make a mountain?
You don't make them.
You don't make them?
No, they're just there.
They're just they're just there. Okay, let's say you wanted to make a mountain. How would you do that? How would you make a mountain, sir?
That's why you're here to tell us how.
No, I was really hoping you could bail me out. Before we go up, we need to go down.
Okay.
And we need to understand what we're standing on. Right? What are we standing on?
Crust?
The crust, the lithosphere. That's the outer skin, the outer rocky crust of the Earth's surface. What is below the crust?
The mantle?
Let's start our mountain building exercise with the mantle. I want you to take a knife and some mantle material and just give us sort of a nice sort of chunk of mantle. Spread some mantle out there. You might not recognize it, but this mantle is at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. If you one of those, you get one too. Can you just peel it off the wax? The top of the lithosphere in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean are two plates, and we call them oceanic plates. And the oceanic plates are thin, relatively thin, and dense. They sit down under the water. This is our thin little representation of an oceanic plate. So if you take one of your plates, just sort of halfway along there and kind of push it down a little bit, and you can take your plate and line it up there.
Line it up?
Yeah, just sort of line up. They can be perfect, just like that. Okay, I want you to put your hands on either side and slowly move them apart. And as they move apart, what do you see?
The mantle.
The mantle! Very good. Most people say you see frosting, but you're with us, Julie. As the plates move apart in the middle of the Atlantic, the plates get very thin and the mantle comes to the surface, and you make new crust there. It comes up to the crust and it makes new plate material. There's another type of plate. If we've got oceanic plates, what do you think the companion to the oceanic plates might be?
Continental plate.
And the continental plates, unlike the oceanic plates, are thicker and less dense, kind of like this. Put that down there. If you've got a thin, dense oceanic plate at the bottom of the ocean and a thicker, lighter continental plate like South America colliding up against it, what do you think is going to happen to the two plates?
The denser, thinner plate will go underneath.
Right.
The thicker, less dense continental plate.
Well, can you give us a little demonstration using our carefully prepared props here of what that might look like?
Continental plate comes up.
Yeah.
You got the Andes.
And what sort of landforms do we get along the west coast of South America?
Andes Mountains.
The Andes Mountains, exactly. So, and those mountains are a result of the continental crust riding up over top of that oceanic crust. Which brings us to the final little simulation here, because we haven't made the Rocky Mountains yet, have we? If you take two continental crusts and bring them together, they usually behave a little bit differently. And if you were back here 100 million years ago, the North American plate was banging up against some slivers of other continental crust. So let's try bringing continental crust together and see what happens, okay?
Oh, they're gonna melt.
Oh man! That is mountain building.
Yeah.
You're obviously a trained geologist. That's very good. When you look at the Canadian Rockies, you see layers, right? You often see layers pointing up towards the sky, as if the layers have been picked up and pushed up. And when the pieces of continental plate came together here, the geologists think there was a little bit more, instead of just crumpling, one of them rode up on the other a little bit, and so you had the overthrust, and that brought the sedimentary layers up way over our heads.